So, ladies and gentlemen, here I'm as the opening government. I want to prove what is actually happening in this society. That's why the government solved this problem, and this motion should to be talked and discussed in this side of the house. As we know that the developing country is still in a crisis due to the economical level. They are still growing and needs more factors to growth in an economical basis. Many unemployed, uneducational people or society, and lack of educational in industrialized sectors or technological sectors is still so minimum in these developing countries. In the status quo, we know how does the capitalism is going on the foreign companies, which came from a major country, such as a colonizer in globalization, the terms that I should to say, which we know the prime source, the market space, the consumer, for example, or the land that used in the developing countries itself, that found of foreign companies should also do the corporate social responsibility from the foreign company itself by implementing the minimum quota of hiring local workers from developing countries itself to solve this kind of status quo, to solve this problematic system, to alleviate and solve the crisis that happened by exploiting the development countries such as I've been mentioned before. And our assertion toward this motion is we stand at this motion that developing countries should demand a space from foreign companies to work as a basis obligation that should to be obligated by the foreign company itself. Let's go to how this policy should be done by the foreign companies and should be run well from the government. The very first thing is the foreign company should at least provide, for example, 60% or above space to local workers to solve the problem. And also, the foreign company should provide average or proper salaries related to the region basis, not only space job. So it's not only spacing a job, but also proper the proper salaries. What I mean, the foreign company also has the obligation to give a new expert's skill towards the worker that I will explain in the further way into my argument. And also, the requiring of provide local workers jobs should be a side deal without abandoning the foreign company only, but it should be a deal with all sectors. And also, if the foreign company was not obligate the requirement, the government should be emphasized that it could not be the foreign companies to be built in the development country as well, and doesn't allow to be operated if the minimum quota doesn't implement it. Let's go to my argument on how this is very impactful and how this is very advantage towards to the three sides, such as the government itself, foreign company itself, or even the citizenship itself. By requiring the foreign company to have a minimum quota, it may deal every sector, such as economical, increase the experts' ability towards the local workers, and also may have a good deal towards foreign company itself. Let's talk first how does this impactful towards the government. The first thing, developing country has a great amount of unemployment. We already stated in the first speech. By this policy, it will decrease the level of employment itself. Imagine if there are foreign companies, such we mentioned China, needs total employees to 20,000. It means if we apply the policies which 60% minimum should be gained from the local, it means that already 12,000 people are helped towards this policy, right? And also, by this regulation, may increase the level of GDP rate because we know the course of Indonesia, for example, is quite far from dollars or even yuan that's provided by the foreign company itself. If the employees are getting jobs from foreign, the GDP rate will increase significantly and help the economical crisis towards the government through the proper salaries that relatively may have a higher level than what the local companies provide. And also, this policy may also impact towards the foreign company. First thing that we should to realize, because they have a minimum quota by local workers, their market is being more run in the long term, because the government should have a responsibility to keep their company starts, because they are the local employee stands towards this company. If the foreign company is bankrupt, so it will abandon the government. So the government may help the foreign company to always make the operation long in a very long-term way. And also, this minimum quota may lead the government to push the regulation, for example, increasing tax, because it's the government do that. If the government do that, the foreign company will be bankrupt, so the government may decrease such the regulation to the tax for the foreign company, for example. For example, how much will China and also foreign company lack cost of workers expense by export their own local workers. Imagine how much will China will expense their cost if they send to 20,000 workers only from their China itself. They should provide much facilities such as land or new house from the China workers. It means that they will cause much expense towards their funding, right? So it's very impactful and very have a good deal towards the foreign company also. And the last argument that I want to emphasize how this is impactful and help towards the employees or even the people that's in the situation that jobless. The very first thing, they will solve their jobless problem, as we know. It's being clearly and obvious as I mentioned. And also, they will get expert skills. We know that foreign company that's built in the local nations have more expert skills that's able to distribute and may increase the performance value of the citizen itself. For example, if we are working in e-commerce itself, we may not expert how to do a coding, but at least we know how does it run, how impactful the technological towards it. It will increase the enthusiasm of citizen to learn something new from the expert worker. And also the employees or the citizenship itself get higher level of salaries. We compare to the local salaries, the foreign companies that we know have more value of salary standard. If I'm going to compare the level salaries between big accounting public have a minimum salaries in 7 million level, but if it's a local accountant public, it's in the level of 4 million. Imagine how far the comparison level it's come from towards that provided by the foreign company itself from the local companies itself. So I believe as the government team, this is very impactful and solve the crisis towards the status quo that I've been explained. Thank you.